Hey everybody, welcome to the Beading Dreams Torch Thursday live tutorial stream. There will be fire and all sorts of other fun things tonight. So thank you so much for hanging out with us here on the Beading Dreams stream. So there's not a ton of you, but those of you who are regulars who haven't been on stream for the past couple days probably have noticed that, hey, I have a completely different background. I promise it's not a green screen, it's an actual store. This is actually Beading Dreams. So for anybody who's never seen it, this is our store. This is where we live and work and make messes and help people and have lots of fun sometimes, and sometimes want to murder people. But yeah, since this is the actual Beading Dreams, we're doing a major minor rearrangement of furniture and such here at Beading Dreams. So all the things that used to be behind me have gone away. New things will be coming to be behind me next week, but for the rest of the week, hey, you get a view onto the backstage of Beading Dreams. So what are we doing this evening? It is Torch Thursday. That means that there are torches involved, and we're doing this one. Oh wow, that's the wrong photo. I changed all the photos except for that one. Good job, Allison. Aren't you all so glad that I'm in charge of your livelihood? My staff is like, no, we're really not. We're considering other employment opportunities. So this is actually the class for tonight. This is organic set earrings. So this is a technique that we've done before. It's a variation on a theme, as so many things we do are. And the reason that so many things we do are variations on the theme is not because I'm not creative. That's what I keep telling myself. But because so many things in jewelry and in so many other things are actually variations on the theme. Like there's literally like a baseline of, you know, techniques and ideas that if you assimilate them, you can take them and you can do so many things with them. So let's talk tools and supplies for this particular assimilatory idea. Assimilatory. I don't know that that's actually a word either, but that's where I was going with that. So you're going to need some wire, and you're going to need 2 gauges. So if you're doing a pair of hoop earrings, also Amy Smee, are you out there? Because if you are, I'm going to tell everyone what you're about to go do. Because I'm officially jelly. But if she's not out there, then I'm not going to do that because there's no point. So, as far as wire goes, you're going to need some 16 gauge. You can do sterling or gold filled. We've talked on the stream before about, you know, when you're soldering gold filled, there are problems with the scorching off of the gold. And then sometimes there are also problems with the fact that you've got no 16 gauge sterling silver. So we're going to go with 18 gauge sterling silver instead. Or maybe we're just going to go with the 16 gauge sterling silver that was in the 18 gauge section of the wire folder. So anyway, 16 gauge sterling silver wire, 20 gauge sterling silver wire. So when you're fabricating, sterling silver, brass, bronze, and copper are going to be your main fabrication wires. You can solder on gold-filled wire. You can solder on sterling silver-filled wire. The problem with both of those scenarios is that when you're talking about a filled wire, what is it's a base metal core wire that is essentially heavily plated, coated with a surface of a precious metal. When you apply heat to said surface, you will literally oxidize the molecules of the surface metal, and then when you polish those away, you're taking away literally a portion of the volume of that metal. And so depending upon how much metal is actually there on the surface as far as your precious metal that's covering your base metal, you are going to wind up oxidizing away a significant portion of your precious metals. So common wisdom, if you're a traditionally trained metalsmith, is that you can't solder on anything that's plated or filled. So that's not actually technically true. You can solder on things that are plated and filled, but what happens is you will typically experience soldering scorching, thank you, most of the time from your solder joints radiating outward, but sometimes on completely random parts of your metal that are nowhere near your solder joints. So what you're dealing with if you solder on plated or filled metal is the potential that you're going to wind up with something that's not very pretty looking. You're going to wind up with something that's splotchy and uneven. So if you're gonna solder on gold filled, your best bet is, and cheers y'all, is to, minimize your heat, good torch control. The less heat you put on the metal is the better. If you want to go ahead and stick with sterling silver, 14 karat solid gold, brass, bronze, copper, and yes, I know that 14 karat, brass, and bronze are all alloys, but they're not plated. That's going to be easier. So I'm going to do sterling silver tonight. Sorry. We are still in the moving week, which means there has been moving of things. Today, successfully accomplished preliminary rearrangement of the back room. Carol and Carol May successfully accomplished emptying of IKEA shelves, and really right now I just want to go take it out. Because small business, y'all, it's a thing. Oof. So 16 gauge sterling silver round wire, 20 gauge sterling silver round wire. Gonna need some stones. This is a great setting, as you can see, for a regular stone. Yes, I'm yawning again. Dang it, who called me on that? Oh wait, it was me. So I have a lovely little section in one of my stone boxes that's all Herkimer diamonds, and I'm really excited to use them tonight. I'm gonna make Corvus! Hi, Corvus! Corvus, I'm falling asleep. Be funny and keep me awake. Okay, y'all, since I am falling asleep, and I'm totally blaming that on the fact that we've been moving objects all week and all day today, I'm gonna make a pendant. I'm gonna get a Diet Coke. I'll be right back. Holy crap! I have an emergency situation. We're moving everything. Carol May moved the Diet Coke and I don't know where she put it. Seriously? Ha! Found it. I found it. I found the Diet Coke. So bear with me while I just completely down some of this, and then we're going to get to this project. And, Corvus, I feel like I am entertaining you by my inability to entertain you. Just saying. Y'all are funny. Okay, so I'm gonna make one circle tonight, which could be a pendant or an earring, depending on whether you have the wherewithal to make two. But considering it's already 6:42, oh my god. Seriously, the thing that I figured out is I really need to start caffeinating at around 4 p.m. in order to be peppy for the stream, and I didn't today. Did not. This is my first caffeine of the day, and obviously I spilled half of it on my boobs. Also, by the way, the ring that I made for next week's classes looks very much like a breasticle, and it was not intentional, but it happened. Also, apparently, half of my viewers have left me because I'm not interesting in this state. Let's sit here and drink this for a second. And now we shall continue on with the stream. So, 16 gauge wire, 20 gauge wire, and stones. However many you want. There could be 1, there could be 3, there could be 17. Okay, there really is no limit to how many stones you can put on each of these hoops. I'm going to make 1 hoop tonight, and it's going to have 3 stones. So I have 3 Herkimer diamonds. Wait, which ring? I blame Heather for my obsession with boobs. She keeps wearing these shirts that are all about the cleavity cleavage. Like, this is not my fault. Just saying. And, oh, the ring, Lori, unfortunately, is in the tumbler, so I can't show it to you today, but it is definitely, when you see it in the email or on Facebook next week, you are going to, don't be drinking anything when you see the picture. That's all I have to say. But it really is in the tumbler, because I literally, one of the reasons I was so late getting on stream is I was finishing the class sample for next week, Thursday. Tools, tonight is a soldering stream. I promise I'm not going to like fall asleep on the torch and set my hair on fire. I think, holy crap, oh, I'm going to try not to. So as far as tools go, you're going to need your basic tools. Torch, soldering surface. We're going to skip the pickle and pickle pot because I'm just going to wind up tumbling this whole thing when I'm done with it. You're going to need flux, a brush to apply your flux. You are going to need various hand tools, tweezers, solder pick, pliers, round nose, chain nose, wire cutters, and probably other things I've forgotten. My brain's telling me that's a complete list, but I don't think that's actually correct. But anyway, no. The usual tools, it's true. Also, I just dropped all my wire on the floor. Okay, so let's talk about making circles in wire. So if you're trying to make a loop or a circle, whether it be a bangle bracelet, a ring, an earring, a pendant, you're technique is going to be pretty much the same no matter what. So, you can have something. Wow, my allergy pill's wearing off too. This timing's spectacularly amazing. By spectacularly amazing, I mean it spectacularly sucks. So, 16 gauge wire, something round. So how big your round thing is going to depend on how big you want your finished circle to be. You want to make sure that whatever you're forming your wire around, okay, is it gonna get? Sorry, y'all. I know that's gonna get real annoying real fast. So we're gonna see if I can overcome that coughing thing. So whatever you are going to bend your wire around, you need it to be smaller by approximately 25% or so than the circle you're trying to create. The reason is this, because wire is springy. So I'm going to take my dowel, and this is a 1-inch dowel. So I'm going to take my wire, I'm going to hold it around my dowel, and I'm going to wrap it around and overlap it like so. Okay, so I've got my wire firmly held with my thumb against my dowel, and I have pulled it around, and I'm pulling very firmly, you can see on my finger, on this other wire. Now when I let go of the tension on my hand here, the wire is gonna spring up, it's gonna get bigger. This is why whenever you're doing this, whatever you're bending your wire around needs to be smaller than what you're trying to create. Did I really? Wow. One sec. The usual tools, including your pliers, which I did not have. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that wire loop and I'm just going to go ahead and cut it. So for anyone who's not familiar about flush cutters and how they work, your cutter, the flat side is going to cut flush. The side that is notched in is going to cut a pointy side. So when we're soldering, we want flush ends always. That means that I'm going to take my flush cutter this way towards what's going to stay, which is here. Trim it off. Before I forget, I'm going to go ahead and put my 16 gauge wire back in the actual appropriate section of my wire folder, which it was not in before. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my flush cutter, I'm going to flip this around, and once again I'm going to take my flush cutter. The flat side is going to go towards, sorry, this is the way, what's going to stay, and I'm going to snip. So I've got two flush ends that now I can solder together to make a circle. Go ahead and take a second to make sure that's aligned. And if you need to take a file to that, you can, but I actually think that this one is pretty good. Now, before we get out our torch and our solder, I'm going to go ahead and cut the wire for my 3 settings, because I have 3 Herkimer diamonds that I'm going to use for this evening's tutorial. So each Herkimer diamond is going to take ultimately 3 pieces of wire. So here's the way this works. I've got my 20 gauge wire, and I'm going to cut 2 pieces, each of which is 1 inch long. So for 3 stones, that's 6 pieces at 1 inch. Yes, I realize those numbers are different than what I just said. I'm going to tell you why it's going to change in just a minute. Okay, so currently I have 6 1-inch pieces of wire in 20 gauge silver cut for my 3 stones. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 3 of these wires and I'm going to cut them in half. So now I'm going to have 3 1-inch pieces and 6 1/2 inch pieces. Also, everyone, give a shout out to Heather, who is home today making flags, which is not the most exciting thing on the planet, but we here at the Beading Dreams appreciate it so much. And yeah, again, for anybody who, I'm sure all of y'all who are out there are familiar with this, but the flag project is a big commission that we at Beading Dreams get every year, and Heather is an ace at doing them, and so without her, we will be screwed. So she has been home making flags all day, though she did have a glass of champagne, which she sent me a photo of because we had a lovely client here who brought us champagne. So cheers to Heather and cheers to flags. She's amazing. Okay, so this is why I cut my wire the way that I did. I've got, for each stone, now what's going to happen is I've got 1 piece that's 1 inch and 2 pieces that are 1/2 inch, and I'm going to form these 3 pieces collectively into an X, which kind of seems like one of those puzzles that they have on the internet, but it's really obviously not that hard, because there we go. So the the reason that we've got 3 pieces instead of 4 is because why bother soldering 4 pieces together in 2 lines when you can keep 1 in a line already? So I'm going to do 3 of these X's. Of course, Heather. I think the entire internet knows that I couldn't do this without you, and Corvus, does that include shipping? Because, I mean, I'm in. She'll totally end up with Heather, but I'm totally in. Like, if you're selling your pup for a penny, including humane shipping to Dallas, like, which one are we talking about? Are we talking about Estrella or the other one? Do not make fun of my Spanish accent, because I know it sucks. Estrella. Alright, she's for sale for a penny. Who wants an adorable doggo for a penny? I mean, I can even one-up that. I can do a penny and beads, Corvus. Okay, so I've got 3 X's. 1, 2, 3. I also have a way overexposed camera frame here, so give me a sec. Oh, the caffeine is starting to hit me. Thank goodness. Really, must start caffeinating at 4 p.m. Not even kidding. It's insane. Alright, so there are my 3 X's and my... Oh, it's like a game of tic-tac-toe, except with fire. Ooh, Lori's offering you a nickel, Corvus. Just saying. Because they don't have pennies anymore in Canada. Yeah, they've been like... God, that's been a thing. It's just been like a circus act that they bring out in the U.S. every once in a while. Is like whenever somebody wants to get crazy, and they're just like, ban the penny, because pennies literally cost more to make than they're worth here in the U.S. Even though they've actually been making them out of mostly zinc instead of copper for... Oh shit. 30 years? As I discussed on my penny earring tutorial last week, but we still have them because some people are very, very attached to them. Illinoisans specifically, because Abraham Lincoln, who was from Illinois, is on the penny. Also, interestingly enough, until... I'm not going to say recently because that's going to date me, but for quite a while after a number of public vending devices stopped using pennies, you could still throw pennies into a toll booth in Illinois because it is the land of Lincoln. I know for a fact that's not the case these days, but yeah, you could. So when I lived in Illinois, which was in 2005, 2006, you could still literally pay your 75-cent toll with pennies if you wanted to. So yeah, that was the automatic machines, like the baskets. Like, okay, so people who are out there, who grew up with toll roads before there were toll tags and devices? I want to know who out there is both older or older than me and grew up with the toll road system, because there are a lot of people who are my age or older who didn't grow up around toll roads. But I grew up in Wisconsin. There are not toll roads in Wisconsin, but Illinois, which is immediately to the south of us, is full of toll roads, and pretty much if you wanted to go anywhere, you've got to go through those if you're going south. Obviously, if you're going, okay, if you're going east, you're going to be in Lake Michigan, so that's really not an option. If you're going west, you're going to be in Minnesota, and that's Minnesota. But south was Illinois, and it always involved tolls. So whenever you were taking a road trip, you had to have the Ziploc baggie of coins, because some tolls were 25 cents, some tolls were like 10 cents. Like, you had to have all of the denominations of coins, and it's like, God forbid you should start your road trip without your bag of coins, because you were screwed, you know, because then you couldn't go through, because of course my family, being German by ethnicity, has a tendency to prefer efficiency, and so it's like, you know, you could go through the toll booth that had the actual person attending it, and you could pay with dollars, and they would give you change, but of course that took time. So no, you had to, like, you know, no, you need to have the coins, and you need to as you're driving up to the toll, you need to see the sign, and you need to tell the child in the passenger seat, this is the amount of the toll, pull out the coins, and then you hand the coins to the driver, and then they chunk them in the basket, and then you go through. And I feel like this is an experience that is not unique to my childhood, but is not common to everyone's childhood. So now, I've spent 20 minutes talking about toll roads, and now I'm going to solder. So, sorry, I'm much more focused when I start caffeinating earlier. I'm learning these things. It's only taken me over 2 years. So, before you solder, if you're not familiar with soldering, if you don't have a torch set up already, go ahead and first of all, listen to my 5-point soldering safety lecture. You can get to that by typing !S-safety into the Twitch chat. If you are making an actual, thank you Corvus and Lori, y'all are the best. If you're actually making a studio in your own home, I strongly encourage you to not only consult my 5-point lecture, but consult an actual expert, because there are a lot of things in soldering that if you're going to incorporate this into your own home, like, it's not out of reach to do this, to have a soldering studio in your own home, but you really need to make sure that you do it in a way that's going to be safe and sustainable for you and any pets, children, other grown-ups, elderly parents, alien babies that live with you, whatever. You want to make sure that everyone in your household is safe. So, what I've done here is I've laid out all my soldering bits. I've also taken my flux. Flux is, of course, a protectant for your joints so that your joints will remain clean and unoxidized so your solder can flow. I've applied flux to all of my joints. So I've got my 3 X's and I've got flux in all 3 of those joints, and then my circle fluxed that joint as well. Now I'm going to grab some easy solder. Maybe. There it is. It was behind my caffeine. Alien, I mean, come on, Heather, the alien babies deserve the protecting. And I cut myself 4 pieces of easy solder. And then I'm going to grab a tweezers. And I'm going to place a piece of solder at each joint. So that's going to be 1 there, 1 there, there, and okay, this one's tough because it's actually sitting above my soldering surface. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dab a little bit of extra flux on there because that's going to help my solder to stick. Now I'm going to light my torch and I'm going to solder all of these together. So when I'm soldering, I just want to go ahead and I want to heat everything, and then sometimes, did you see what just happened there? That's the solder. It's way further away from there than it's supposed to be. Sometimes the heat will kick your solder off your joint, so you have to just be prepared with your tweezers or your solder pick to get it back where you need to be. Now I'm going to pick one of these, and it's going to be this one to focus on. So I'm going to heat the whole thing, focus on the joint, and I want to watch that solder. Alright, I need to make sure, there we go, it solders all of the pieces. So did you see for a minute there it looked like a triangle and then it turned to a square? That's what I want. So what I have now is I have a completely soldered X-shaped piece of wire. So being able to see what your solder's doing is important. So now I'm going to go to this one. Cool. 2 X's and 1 more. Okay, this is a problem because this piece right here is not actually contacting, so there's literally no way the solder can flow to it. So what I'm going to do, there we go, is I'm just going to nudge it. Nudge is a technical term. And bring it closer to everything else so that my solder contacts it like so. And then last thing I'm going to do is solder my circle. Alright, there we go. So now I have my circle, which is going to be the base of my pendant or earring. In this case, it's going to be a pendant because I'm running super duper late tonight. And then I've got my 3 settings. So now I get to decide where do I want to put my 3 settings on my pendant, and also I'm going to need a loop for the top. So, one sec. I have to say it's much more efficient just being able to like walk right there without a wall, but again, that's only going to last for the next week. But what I grabbed is a soldered ring. That's going to be the top ring for my pendant. So now let's go ahead and figure this out. Okay, so I think I want my ring at the top, and then where do I want my other 3? I usually like them a little asymmetrical and kind of a triangle symmetry, so I think I'm going to do like 1 here, 1 here, 1 there. So what that means is I need 3, 4, because 1 for my ring, more pieces of solder, and I need to sweat them onto my pendant. And this is where I'm going to utilize my solder pick to transfer them over. So 1, 2, 3, 4, awesome. So let's talk for just a minute about solder picks. This is a, I said alien babies, Corvus, actually, just saying. This is a titanium solder pick. It is going to cost you $10 versus $2 for a steel solder pick. Trust me, it's more than worth it. Anybody who sat there and filed and filed and filed solder off of a steel solder pick knows what I am talking about. So I'm actually going to use this solder pick to move my solder onto the places where I need it. So I'm going to turn on my torch. One at a time, I'm going to take these pieces of solder, ball them up, and apply them to my circle. Since solder flows towards heat, if you're transferring solder, all you really need to do is make sure the surface onto which you're transferring it is hotter than your pick. Alright, so now I've got all of my solder transferred onto my circle. So I've got a ball there, 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 and there. Now we're going to take these X's, and I'm doing this all with easy solder, which is definitely a questionable choice. So any of my experienced metalsmiths out there who are like, what the F are you doing? Yeah, you're not wrong, but I still think I can do it. So I've got these all with easy solder. They're all touching my frame, including that one. Now we're going to heat this, and we are going to see how this goes. So why do I say that the fact that I'm doing this all with easy solder is not necessarily the best choice? So metal conducts heat. So some really smart person back in the day decided that they were gonna make solder in different melting points, and this is exactly why. So when you're doing multiple joint projects like this, there we go. Awesome. one down. So the fact that I have soldered my little settings together with the same temperature solder as I'm trying to solder them to my frame means that there's a significant chance that these are all going to fall apart while I'm trying to solder everything together, because I gotta get everything up to the same temperature. Now, there's a really good workaround for this. They make solder in different temperatures, which means that I could theoretically have soldered my X's with, that's not an X. Yeah, we're gonna back away from whatever that was. But I could have soldered my X's together with a medium solder and then solder them onto my frame with an easy solder, except for the fact that I had easy solder in my drawer and I don't know where it went. But working with a proper progression of solder, medium for your first joints, easy for your next joints, extra easy for your next joints, it's gonna make your life a lot easier. Like, seriously, being lazy like I am is not actually always the best policy, but I did successfully do it. I do have a circle with 3 settings soldered to it, so I just need this to cool for a minute, and then I'm going to show you how to actually set your stones. So, happy Thursday, everybody. It is, of course, Torch Thursday. That's why you're seeing me lighting things on fire. Tomorrow is Crafty Cocktail Friday. That means we will not be on Facebook tomorrow. We will not be on Twitch. We'll be on Zoom. So everybody out there, I'm pretty sure all of you have the credentials already. It's the same meeting that we always have, starting at 6 p.m. Central, ending at 8 p.m. Central. Work on whatever you want. It's free crafting time. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to be zooming from here or from Beading Dreams Remote. I mean, the bonus here is I've got way more materials and resources. The bonus of Beading Dreams Remote is there are potential cat photos and live appearances that may happen. So tomorrow night is Zoom, and then Saturday evening is going to be this project. This is our wire wrapped prom set pendant. For anybody who has cut stones, a cat butt, right? For anybody who has cut stones and you don't quite know what to do with them, Saturday night's tutorial should be really helpful for you. In addition to, of course, last night's tutorial, a couple of really good ways to utilize cut stones even if you don't have a torch. So one of my solder joints didn't quite work, so I'm just going to fix that real quick. Okay, so now I need that to, yes, I know, cat butts are the most exciting part of the cats. Their butts. Actually had, so the Victorian event, not Victorian, Elizabethan event that I'm doing in November, I had to send them a bunch of promo photos. Charles, who is a friend of Beading Dreams, and also a friend of Heather, is an amazing photographer, by the way. So if anybody needs a photographer, let Heather or I know. We're happy to give you his contact info, because he's fan-freaking-tastic. So he was kind enough to do a photo shoot for me, for minimal compensation. Again, that's, you know, he's an amazing artist. He deserves all the compensation in the world. But he made my jewelry look really good. But there was one photo that I took because the event organizers asked for more photos, even above and beyond what I did for the photo shoot. So I sent a couple of process photos, and one of the photos involved Ziggy's butthole literally touching the beads that I was working with. And so I'm like, okay, I like this photo, I like the composition. Somebody's gonna figure out that this is a cat ass. Like, I mean, it's fuzzy, obviously it's a cat, but somebody's gonna figure out that this is the butt portion of the cat. So I had to like crop it and enlarge it to remove the cat ass from the photo. And yes, this is my life. Don't everybody be jealous all at once. Alright, time for setting the stones. Okay, so I've got my circle that's soldered, I've got my ring that's soldered. I'll post some of them on Discord, Corvus, including the Ziggy Butt one after the stream. So now I've got my 3 settings and my ring at the top. So of course, if you were going to do a pair of earrings, you would just replicate this again. So you do 2. So I've got 3, I've got my 3 Herkimer diamonds. So as far as balance goes, I've got 1 big one, 2 small ones. So the big one should go here, the small one should go here and here. That just kind of design-wise is what tends to work. So I'm going to put that in there and hold it with my fingers. And then I'm going to grab my setting, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it up and over and then press it down like so. And then we always want to work in opposition, so I'm going to do the same with this one. So just to be clear, Corvus, do you want to see pictures of the actual photo shoot or just of the cat butt? Alright, so there's 2. So what I've done is I've taken my wire, I've brought it up and over, pressed it down, and then bent it back. Because these wires are longer than I need. That's on purpose, because better too much than not enough. But I find as an individual with anxiety, sometimes when I cut my wires first, I have difficulties. So sometimes it's nice to know how to set everything and then cut after. An only cat. Ah, that's amazing. If only, like, if I could make an only cats for Ziggy and he could just like have a modeling career to pay the rent, that'd be amazing. And the good thing is there's really no regulation or laws about cat buttholes, and also cats have really no morality in that sense. So, you know, if that could only be my career, possibly I would be a much freer individual. Leveraging my cat's butthole to pay my expenses. Yes, I heard what I just said and I said it on purpose. Okay, so this one's set. So now what I'm going to do is... So basically these parts that are flipped up, I don't need those. I'm just going to cut them off. Alright, and there you go. So there's one that's set. Now I'm just going to do the other 2. Right? Seriously. I mean, there are a lot of sex-starved people in the world, and there are a lot of people who look at porn who aren't sex-starved, who are perfectly normal, and that's not a bad thing. But you know what? There are also people who need more cats and dogs in their life. So I'm all about only pause. Like, I have zero judgment for anybody who's looking at OnlyFans or any kind of you know, erotica or suggestive anything, because you know what? All of these things are normal and healthy, but I do think Corvus is right, and we do need to create only paws for cats and dogs, because, you know, you can be sex positive and paw positive at the same time. Also, speaking of judging, anybody who is judging yourself, please notice how many times I've dropped these stones while setting them. Like, anybody who's been watching like TikToks and whatnot about making jewelry, like, you know, if I were gonna make a TikTok, which eventually I will, like, the video I post is not gonna be me effing up like 17 times. No, it's gonna be the best video of all the ones I shot. So please remember, if you're being hard on yourself, that like, we all screw up, and we screw up multiple times before we succeed. So I'm just, I mean, furry paws always make me squeal, Corvus, and I feel like I'm definitely, like, we're definitely not the only ones here. I mean, send me a good toe bean picture anytime, and I will be having a better day. Though, Heather sent me the best meme yesterday when we wound up ordering Shake Shack. I'll show you in a second. Because I had brought a lunch. I was not happy with my lunch. Heather had forgotten her lunch. But this meme, this is us, y'all. At least it's Heather and I. I mean, it might not be the rest of you, but it's definitely Heather and I. Which is... like, totally. Morning me, or even worse, you know what's even worse than the lunch packed by morning me? Is the lunch packed by night before me. Who's like, tomorrow, I'm gonna be healthy. I'm gonna eat this salad. And I'm gonna drink this water. And, oh, by the way, this is the outfit I'm gonna wear. And we're gonna be so prepared in the morning, and everything's going to be amazing. And so then with me, then morning me is like, well, screw this outfit, I'm not feeling this, but there's this lunch already packed, so we're going to take that. So I'm going to put on this outfit, and this is how we're feeling, and we're going to grab the lunch out of the fridge, because of course we're running 20 minutes late, because it's me. And there we go. So now we get to work. We haven't eaten breakfast. We're drinking Diet Coke and rolling with our day, and we get hungry, and we open up the lunch bag and we're like, what the fuck? Why are there leaves in my lunch bag? Like, why the hell did last night me think that a spinach salad with goat cheese and balsamic dressing was what I would want at any point in time? Yeah. Like, no bueno. So yeah, so that is my problem with everything, like meal prep, wardrobe planning, everything. It's like, yeah, past Allison, and also apparently past Heather, are so bad at determining future Allison and Heather's wants and needs. Like, Yeah, sometimes it's just like, fuck you, past Allison. Like, what were you smoking? Why did you think that this salad was a good idea? Anyway, all of that is much more relatable, I think, when it's a cat. But now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set my third gemstone, which is also a Herkimer diamond, because that's what I decided I was doing tonight. And honestly, present Allison just wants a nap, which is not something you can pack in a lunch sack. If only. But no. And unfortunately, any comfortable, possibly nappable areas of our store just keep getting eliminated. Wow, that's 3 stones I've dropped in the past hour. So I really should pick those up before we vacuum tomorrow. Also pretty much decided that I'm going to need to come here to pack up for my offsite tomorrow, because I am just freaking tired. Alright, so I'm on my 3rd setting, trimming off my extra. Okay, Corvus, I love you to death. I also love that you that the way I'm reading your post is that you see I look like a tire. And okay, so this actually brings me to literally the worst movie I've ever seen. If you want to waste some of your life, Google a film called Rubber, and it's not a porno. No, it's about sentient tires. And it is literally the worst thing I've ever watched. Okay, Killer Condom is better than Rubber. So I'm sure someone out there is gonna Google it, because I know that y'all don't have the best of sense. But I'm just saying, I have warned you. It used to be on Netflix for free, so you don't at least have to pay to waste a couple hours of your life, but it is literally the worst piece of film I've ever seen. And, well, Thunder Fox. Wow, I'm having a less than stellar tutorial stream because I am tired, so I'm just rambling, really, but I did manage to, oh Lord. I mean, are we talking about someone who lived in Nantucket? Oh no, sorry, not going to happen. What you should do, Thunder Fox, is you should come back on Saturday for our live merchandise sale at 7:30 p.m. Central Time on this channel, twitch.tv/Beading Dream. Heather will be here. She is a very articulate individual and also a vocalist, so I feel like she could do that. I'm not even gonna try, but just because I won't try, you should come back, because there may be a target rich environment on Saturday. But for now, everybody, I did it. I know I am tired, but I did it. I made one organic set pendant. So I've got my 3 little settings with their 4 prongs each that are each holding a Herkimer diamond. This is sterling silver. So I could leave this oxidized from the torch. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put it in the tumbler, make it shiny. So it's 7:30 and it is definitely time for me to go to home. Take a nap. I have a lot of things to do tomorrow. So thank you, Thunder Fox. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me. Okay, seriously, for starters, anybody who watches Rubber, I'm sorry, but also you deserve it because you got yourself into this. Anybody who watches Killer Condom, also you got yourself into this. But thank you, Lori, and thank you, Thunder Fox. I'm Allison B from God, I haven't even been drinking, just been talking a lot. Thank you all so much for hanging out on the Beading Dream stream. Thank you, Thunder Fox. Please come back. I promise I will be less tired at a future date. Thank you, Lori. Thank you all our regulars for hanging out for our organic set earring, which I did turn into a pendant. Don't forget, tomorrow night we will not be on Twitch. Okay, we will not be on Twitch. We will not be on Zoom. Good Lord. We will not be on Twitch. We will not be on Facebook. We will be on Zoom. So catch us on Zoom tomorrow night from 6 to 8. That's our regular meeting. Anybody who doesn't have those credentials, go ahead and email us beadingdreamsdallas@gmail.com. And then we will be back on this channel, twitch.tv/Beading Dream, Saturday night at 6 p.m. with this project. This is a wire wrapped faceted gemstone project that will be followed by a live merchandise sale. So everyone have a great night, and I will see y'all on Zoom either from here or from home tomorrow. All right, thanks everyone so much. Bye.